I'm Squash. Hey, I'm Sneegler. We're bringing you our very first video this week for Why We Play. First video, we're going to cover people's favorite games and the experiences they had while they were playing them. We've received a lot of great responses from you guys, and we're going to start this week off with one of our good friends, Joe. My
very first video game, which was actually, like most people, Mario Bros. And Duck Hunt. When I was a kid, I was about 3. I can't remember exactly. I was severely dehydrated and ended up in the hospital. So while I was in the hospital actually had a Nintendo they would take around to the kids and let the kids play. Well, my first memory of playing the game is playing that. And what made it best is that my grandfather, my Papa Odell, as we called him, would actually play Duck Hunt with me when I was a kid. So we're sitting there in the bed, hanging out, just, like bosses, all that good stuff, playing Duck Hunt. And my granddad was like the best at damn Duck Hunt. That is amazing. He passed away at 70 about almost 10 years ago, but I still remember seeing him.
For me, it was, the Super Nintendo. That was my first gaming experience with Super Mario Brothers. It wasn't mine, though. My brother, he had been working at the time. He was about 10 years older than me. And he saved up his money from his job to go out and buy the system. And I'm sure he didn't want his pesky little brother getting on his system and, taking up and hogging it all to himself. That's probably, playing Super Mario Brothers is what started my, self-diagnosed video game addiction.
It all started way back in the day when I was playing old NES games, just sitting around. I mean, my mom would just give me a new one, go to whatever the store was called. I don't even remember. It wasn't a big name chain, but there was just some rental store down the street. She'd come home with a different game like every other week for me. I'd play it for the weekend, finish it, and take it back. It was cheaper than buying games because pretty much I just wanted to play games. I didn't care what it was. I just wanted to play anything, really.
The best thing ever for the Super Nintendo was the Super Scope. I don't know if many of you remember this device, but it was pretty much just a giant shoulder-mounted bazooka. And I felt like such a badass going to the game store, to rent this device out. This was back in the day when video game stores were renting out consoles, and they rented out different devices, like the Super Scope. So, there were countless times where I would rent this thing and just get this giant suitcase that I would have to lug around.
Even sports games like NBA Jam, that was awesome. We played, all the greats, Yoshi's Island, Turtles in Time, Mario Kart. I mean, those were some of the good games, some of the good times playing games I had back then.
The first computer game that I ever played was Warcraft, Orcs and Humans. And I still go back and play that just because it was, at the time, so original. It was completely different from anything I'd ever played, and really was the first thing that got me interested in really just playing games.
See, I got my gaming from my dad. My dad is a huge fan of the old school arcade machines. He was a big fan of Galaga. That was his all-time favorite. And then he was a big fan of Miss Pac-Man, regular Pac-Man, Centipede, Donkey Kong the original.
I never really played games that much. It's kind of funny. My PlayStation 3 is what got me hooked on everything. Always played racing games and like Fight Night and fighting games and stuff like that, and Mortal Kombat. And then, like I said, first-person shooter era came out, and I've been hooked ever since.
Shooters are definitely a great genre, and we're going to be getting into them in a little bit. First, I want to cover a game that has probably stolen more souls than anything else. I want to talk about World of Warcraft. We got a couple videos sent to us about WoW, and we're going to go into them right about now.
My boyfriend, he had been playing many years World of Warcraft, and we actually argued a lot because I didn't like him when he only was sitting on the computer all day long, and I had nothing to do, so we was arguing a lot. I really don't understand why he had to sit on the computer every day just to get gold in a game. 1 year ago, I finally decided to try for myself. I had a level 70 Paladin, but then I got bored and wanted something new. Paladin wasn't like me, so I got a Hunter. After 2 months with triple XP, I got a level 80 Hunter ready for raiding. It was the Lich King patch, so level 80 was the highest. So, and yeah, after that I was like addicted.
Our WoW stories are amazing too. We've taken over cities. We've danced in front of people. We've gotten there. We tore up auction houses. Hell, we got lost one time. Found a bunch of we found a bunch of night elves. Lack of a better term, something in the Deep Tram Tunnel. That's a whole other video.
I'm happy that I played it. Wish I wouldn't have played it as much. But we all played it, and we all played it a lot. I mean, that almost kind of brought back like the get-togethers and fun games, because a lot of weekends people would just bring their computers over and we'd all sit and play WoW together. And it was kind of cool. Went through a lot of expansions, did a lot of raiding, had a lot of good times, met a lot of cool people online.
You know, the World of Warcraft is a great social game where you can meet a lot of different people. But sometimes you have to take those friendships onto a different field, the battlefield. Now, this is when you really learn about who the campers are, who the snipers are, but in the end, it's all going to end in bloodshed. In the next few videos, we're going to talk about some gamers and their experiences on the battlefield.
We had some of the best shit happen on TF2. I still remember that day we took over that Dust Bowl server with our names as this guy's and the guys from Lupin the Third. I thought it was freaking amazing. I think by the end of the day, we were like the top 3 on the leaderboard.
The only FPS game I play, that will be Team Fortress 2. Me and my boyfriend is playing that together, and it's really fun. We are always on the opposite team and we are shooting each other, and that is really fun.
Seems like every time I played Battlefield, I was playing it a little bit longer at a time. And then I got to where I don't even play Call of Duty anymore. It's pretty much just bad company. I like doing what I love, and that's, you know, running and gunning, blowing shit up. It's a lot of fun.
Wolfenstein Enemy Territory. Still my favorite game even till today. It was on a great engine on id Tech 3. It was team-based. The shooting was amazing. The hit registration was amazing. Everything about the game was amazing. And I still love to go back and watch demos of teams playing matches in that game.
You know, once we got to high school, we met some people, the legend, as we call him, and he started inviting us. Like, he would just show up to our house with an Xbox or two and say, "Okay, guys, we're playing Halo." We're like, "What's Halo?" Because we didn't follow Xbox. We thought it was kind of lame at first. I mean, what is this thing? But he's like, "Yeah, dude, we're gonna play Halo." So we started, you know, playing like co-op on split screen, multiplayer matches with like 3 people running around, and we were all terrible, but it made it more fun because, you know, if one person was significantly better, it wouldn't be as good. Since we were all bad, it was pretty fun.
You know, I remember the days of having an Xbox and Halo, and, you know, that was incredible. We would get massive amounts of people together and just have these huge LAN parties where there would be 16 people crunched in a little room, you know, all playing this one game. And it was just, that experience is something I've never experienced before. And since that point, I've never really experienced it either. I've had LAN parties that I've gone to and such. I don't know, I guess that was what I would consider the glory days.
At least once a month we would go over to a buddy's house, load up a cooler with Dr. Pepper, and just pretty much, there was no windows down there in this basement that we played in, so it was pretty much we'd go in there. There was no windows or clocks. I don't know if this is intentional or if this is just kind of an oversight to not have a clock down there, but we would play for hours. We wouldn't know what time of day it was. We'd come upstairs and realize it was 10 in the morning. We're like, oh, maybe we should sleep. So we'd sleep for a couple hours and just do it all again the next night. And those were the good weekends that we had.
We got a lot of great submissions for our very first video and shared a lot of great stories about why we play.
And if you want to check out the next one, it's going to be about casual gaming.
So keep an eye out on our Facebook and Twitter account so that you can find out how you can participate in our next video.